Hello, welcome everybody. It's so nice to join you all in this way. This really makes me smile here. Peter, I love the shades, love the glasses. So Doug and Trish and Denny, Butch, Adi, Jeremy and Meg, Chris, Heather, Rhonda, Mr. Chad. Who's this? Amy, um, Miriam, and of course Suzanne. So welcome everyone, and of course if I missed any of you, my heart's with you. And so I thought I'd start tonight just by offering a couple minutes of formal teaching. And this is something that I really want people to be clear about. When we step into meditation, we're stepping into the consciousness of God. We're stepping into the consciousness of our true nature, which is God. And oftentimes in religion and spirituality, the lineage, whatever that lineage is, it tends to focus on one form of God or another. And so if we're a good Buddhist, we might focus on emptiness, on silence and stillness. If you feel into the depth of nirvana, basically it's God as the experience of absolute emptiness, absolute vastness. Minus form, like without form. Basically the space in nirvana is silence that is pregnant. Sometimes it's referred to as cessation, which is vast, spacious emptiness. And when we connect with vast, spacious emptiness, our mind becomes blank and we experience freedom. There's just this joy of being no one, of being nothing, of not having to do anything, not having to go anywhere. It's a very sane way of being. Sometimes if you're in a room with tremendous drama, if you can just be the empty space that's silently witnessing life, there's freedom in that. Great freedom. And this silence, I often say it's a given. Everyone on planet Earth, their mind, their very mind, is made of silence. It's already here. It's already here. And so much of meditation practice can be about just the realization of this one thing, of opening to this silence, resting in the silence, bathing in the silence, letting go into the silence, surrendering, all thoughts, all emotion, all of your humanity, and just giving yourself permission to be the opposite of personal, to be just this space which witnesses everything. If you close your eyes, you'll notice your mind is absolutely silent. Like the fabric of the mind is silence. Is silence. And then, of course, there's things that arise. You have a thinking mind that arises, you have thoughts that arise, you have emotions that arise, the feeling of being human that arises, conditioning that arises. And so if we can just master this in meditation, getting in touch with our silent nature, immediately we begin to feel sane again. Because we see we have a choice. We can be sane and silent, or listen to the 12 voices in our mind. We can argue with the dog barking, fight with our neighbor or our partner, or find fault. And so there's just great freedom in letting go into silence. Great sanity. If we never discover this silence, we will be eternally lost. And so if we just look at that silence directly, like, what is silence? We start to see that silence, it's not just cold and dead, but it's actually awake. It has a very subtle intelligence to it. It's aware. This intelligence shows up as awareness. It's the very thing looking out of your eyes, the very thing that, if your eyes are closed, hears the sound of my voice. So don't make this silence, too esoteric, or think that it's something, bizarre. It's always here. It's the very thing that when you were a little girl or boy, you went outside at night, you looked up at the stars, and you just experienced the hugeness of what you are. And that thing, that was here, and when you were 2 or 10 or 35 or 85, it's always here, always present. And so much of meditation is about waking up to this. And so much of spirituality just simply ends there. But what I would like to invite is that we investigate first the space of awareness. We open into the space of awareness. And we'll start to do this in a couple minutes here. But once we start to step into that, dive deep into this, we begin to see that there's more to God, more to your consciousness than just silence, than just emptiness. There's emptiness, and then there's also life. There's Shiva, and there's Shakti. And so after we step into the silence, I'm going to invite you to begin to literally open your chakras and breathe in this grace. Invite this grace into you. Invite life more fully into you. Invite bliss more fully into you. Invite love to awaken within your heart. God herself was not satisfied with silence. After a while, she said, it's kind of boring. I'm going to create something dynamic, something blissful, something compassionate, something intelligent. I'm going to flood this silence with an absolute love. And this is my invitation to you to join me in this. And so you can close your eyes, if you haven't already, and begin to breathe and simply notice. Notice the rising and falling of the breath, of the belly. Sit and know you are sitting. Be awake to this moment. Be awake to the silence of this room, the silence of the sky, the silence of your body. Sit and know. Experience the silence of your consciousness. Begin to notice how big, how vast this silence is. Notice that your consciousness does not end at the edges of your body. It's hard to discern where you end and the sky begins. So we're feeling into this. We're directly experiencing the silence in the bottom of our feet, in our calves, our knees, our quads, our pelvis, the lower belly, the solar plexus, your heart, neck, shoulders, your jaw, your face, the entirety of your mind is silent. And of course, if any of you have any tension in your body, if any of you notice anything besides silence, I'm going to invite you to notice that this silence that you are, this silence that is God, has space for that. There's room here for the tension, or heartache, or feeling, or sensation. – So if there's anything you struggle with, I invite you just to allow that to release, to let go into this silence, to be held by the silence. Sometimes there's aspects of our humanity that feel so separate from God. And so from the space of awareness, from the space of this intelligent silence, you can smile at any kind of pain or heartache or thoughts or internal struggle. Just welcome it. You can imagine if pain was like an old grumpy part of yourself that was locked outside in the cold. We're opening the door of our heart and saying, I see you. Come inside where it's warm. Let me hold you. Give you a cup of tea. You are included in this too. And so we just welcome any aspect of the body that we may struggle with. You can even notice if the silent witness that you are has any layer of conditioning. Sometimes when we look through the lens of awareness, we simultaneously look through the lens of anger or agitation or grumpiness or judgmentalness, or we find ourselves in a mind state which is heavy or dark or stubborn. And so I invite you just to notice if you hold any mind state as a habit. And just to step back a little bit further, a little bit deeper into the silence. And give yourself permission to be empty and free. And unconditioned. And so as we breathe in, as we let go into this, again, I invite you just to notice how vast you are, how sane you are, that there's this quiet, gentle innocence which is here. When we let go of all of our conditioning, our mind states, we look directly at ourselves. We see there's this incredible innocence here. That awareness is soft, is gentle, is tender, is innocent. And so from this space of innocence, I invite you to invite this grace, this greater love, to come into you. To open the crown, to open the heart. And literally, to allow awareness to tilt up toward heaven and say, Mother, will you come into me? Will you flood me with grace? Will you bless me with the Most High? Will you show me a higher truth? A higher truth than what I already know? Will you bless me with your grace, with your light? Will you flood me with Aru, Perun, Jyoti, the highest grace, the highest love? And so I invite you again just to have a sense of awareness at the crown, in the space of the third eye, in the space of the throat, in the space of the heart. Just imagine almost that your body is one giant straw, one giant conduit. You're breathing this grace in. You're drawing it into you. Not in a greedy way, but in the most humble way. Lord, make me a conduit of thy grace, of thy love, of thy truth, of thy freedom, thy compassion. Arun Perun Jyoti. Bless me, bless us, bless this planet. With the Most High. So your job is simply to breathe, to feel, to energetically draw in this grace. Let it flood your true nature. Let it flood your heart, your solar plexus, your belly. Let it come into your pelvis and your legs, your feet. Let it flood all the way down through your nervous system. Blessing the individual that's here, and then simultaneously going all the way through you into the earth. blessing the collective consciousness of humanity, of the species, of the earth and matter itself. So by now, if you're open, if you're sensitive, you should feel quite flooded. And for those of you who this type of meditation is new for you, that's okay. Just be humble and receptive. This may be the first time in your life when you've said, Lord, have your way with me. We're letting go of our agenda. We're letting go of our dogma, our conditioning. And opening to what's here. And if you give yourself full permission to surrender, this grace can literally bring tears to your eyes. You feel yourself so blessed that the Divine Mother will come into you, our ordinary human self, right here, right now. So be humble. If you're stuck up in your head, just give yourself permission to let go, to not think you know. To not think you know. Let her show you. Let life show you. So as you go deeper and deeper, you may notice this radiance actually waking up from below, waking up in your feet, coming up from below. So there's a heavenly descent coming down from above. And as it makes its way all the way down into the earth, you'll feel God and matter waking up and actually rising up from below, coming up through the legs, through the pelvis, coming into the belly. So we're feeling this hugeness coming down from above, this absolute divinity waking up from below. And meeting the vast, empty stillness that you are. And so for those of you who are highly sensitive and open, you may notice this incredible brilliance within the space of the mind. Almost as if the silence has woken up and literally turned into pure light. So we're opening to this. And just feeling what's here. What's here beyond thought, beyond emotion. What's here that's divine. In addition to vast, spacious emptiness. And for some of you, when this brilliance comes into you, you may feel resistance in your mind. It may bring up lots of thoughts. It may bring up pain in the body. This is okay. This is part of the process too. Sometimes when Mother Jyoti first comes into you, it's like turning on a light in a basement. You see, oh, there's all kinds of stuff here. And so we are eternally compassionate to any aspect of our human self. We surrender our human self. We don't fight with our thoughts. We don't fight with emotions. Meditation is a time of surrendering to the highest. Seeing this human body, your subtle energetic body, as a conduit for grace, a conduit for brilliance. Haru Perun Jyoti. Deep, full breaths. Receiving the absolute truth of this moment. So just noticing what's happening. Do you notice this absolute brilliance giving birth into you? The space of the third eye. Absolutely brilliant. With each breath, inviting this brilliance to come deeper and deeper, coming down through the throat chakra, to the space of the heart, flooding the torso, the arms, the hands, through the pelvis, through the legs, the feet, waking up your energetic body, your Vajra body, this divine vehicle. Simultaneously acknowledging this grace coming up from below. For some of you, this may be very new to feel your feet so energetically alive, to feel the legs waking up, to feel this jyoti, this light. To acknowledge that what you truly are is spirit, is absolute divinity. And I notice that some of you are being serious, overly serious. It's much easier to wake up to what you are, to receive the hugeness of what you are. If you're relaxed and lighthearted, Let yourself be innocent. Being serious is for grumpy old men, not for you. Smile, receive. Fall in love with yourself. Soften, be childlike. For the ladies present, smile at your beauty, at your absolute divinity, at your goddess nature. Your goddess nature. For the men here, soften, be childlike, be humble. Give yourself permission to be a kid again. And receive. Receive what you are. Meditation is so much more joyous when we're soft inside. This absolute divinity, the Divine Mother, is blessing all of us this evening. But please also know that your heart, your beauty, your divinity is blessing me, is blessing the Sangha, is blessing this planet. So we are being so soft, so tender. We are acknowledging our divinity. We're smiling and saying, yes, what I am is good. What I am is good, is divine. And simultaneously, we are opening ourselves to receive this highest grace light. Aru Perun Jyoti. letting go. Surrendering any space within you that has a wall. Surrendering any old unconscious pain. I invite you just to imagine, just energetically holding up your resistance, heartache, despair, any buried confusion, any numbness or deadness, any aspect of your ancestry, your father, your mother that's within you, any habit, addiction, anything that we've held on to or been attached to, anything that needs to be forgiven. We hold it up before this brilliance. Say, Lord, you take this from me. You take my dogma, my attachment, my anger, my confusion, my fear, my harshness, my critic, unsavory parts of my father or mother that I repeat in my life. The meanness, I give it all to you, Lord. Show me a higher love. Bless me with something greater. Empty me out. So that the Most High may shine through. So I invite you to see this light coming fully into you, flooding your heart. And pouring forth out of your heart. Blessing your mother, your father, your sisters, your brothers, your children, your community, the entirety of the planet. The collective consciousness, the collective unconsciousness. And the entire world wake up to this most high truth, this most high love. So I invite you to just to bring your palms to your heart and just gently bow your head. Lord, thank you so much for blessing us this evening. Thank you for touching us, for reminding us of our absolute divinity. Make me a conduit of your most high grace, your most high love, your freedom. And with that, I invite you just to gently open your eyes. But to notice the habit to go back into your mind, your egoic consciousness, and just simply to acknowledge that you have a choice. You don't have to do that. You can invite this grace into your family, into your speech, into your work, to your relationships, into your sleeping. There's no reason. There's no reason to open yourself fully and then to close it again. Open yourself and be open. Give yourself permission to have a new mind, a new heart, a greater consciousness. This is what God is inviting for you. A greater consciousness. This is how our world will change, how it will grow, how suffering will end, not just in one individual, but in all individuals, through opening to the highest and allowing the highest to live through you, allowing the highest become the fabric of the species, so we don't live in a fight or flight consciousness, but rather live as divine consciousness. And so I'm so happy to be with you all this evening. Thank you truly for blessing me with your presence. And I encourage you to play with this. Open to stillness. Realize yourself as stillness. And then open to grace. Let the Divine Mother come into your life. When you're baking cupcakes, when you're surfing the internet, when you're driving down the road, when you're standing on the ocean, at the edge of the ocean, when you're walking in the mountains, when you're holding your children, as you're going to sleep at night. Lord, come into me. Bless me throughout my night, throughout my sleep. Come into me when I'm driving my car, when I'm sitting on the bus. What you'll find is she'll start to flood you and take over your life. You'll find that you don't have to seek out samadhi, that samadhi will come into you and take your breath away. You'll find yourself overwhelmed with freedom and spaciousness and emptiness. That this silence is as big as the universe. And so I leave you with this invitation. Thank you all so much. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening. Good night.